All right, welcome back to another newest edition of Citizens United. I'm John, Noel.
Hey guys.
Oh, Noel. Everyone's here. Robin, Jerry, and Gail, and the dog. We're all here. Yeah, we're all. We're all. Yeah, they're doing good. Look at them. They gotta make an appearance soon.
No, I know.
Don't jumped on the table earlier. It was close. I hope so. Real quick before we get to our guests, don't forget about our stars. As you're watching the show, if you like what we do and all that, send us stars. 99 cents for 100 of them.
Yeah.
And it helps us get better technology and pay the bills. So that's it. Stars, send them to us, and thank you to everyone who's been sending them to us.
Yes, thank you guys.
And our guest today, first of all, then after our guest, we got big news that we'll have to let everyone know about. But our guest today is she's done everything. She's been to the border. She's been to East Palestine. She's been everywhere. She's running for Senate in Virginia against somebody you would know, and that is former vice presidential, I guess, candidate Tim Kaine. Here she is, Kimberly Lowe. Hey, Kimberly.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Please send them stars because they're literally in their kitchen. They don't have enough cameras to show the people in their kitchen. They need stars.
Right.
Yeah. So I am running for U.S. Senate against Tim Kaine in Virginia. It's a really important seat because it would be the swing vote, which would then give us control in the U.S. Senate. So then the government would have some type of accountability and oversight committee. And until we have some type of majority in the Senate, we're never going to fix much. So it's a super important race. Tim Kaine was Hillary's running mate as VP. He's really part of the swamp. He's already raised $4 million. There are quite a few people running, but I'm the only woman and the only Virginian. My family settled Virginia in the 1600s. I think the only one that's actually been to the border, other than I think one went down there for a photo op in front of the wall, which is not going to the border. I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't think any of them have been to East Palestine. I went to East Palestine. The people at the bar say Palestine. The people closer to the area say Palestine. So I'm going to go with Palestine with the bar people, you know?
Right.
So
yeah. But so now you're going to get a lot of help running, I would assume, like you, because I see how many, I mean, you got some good connections. I watched you on your Facebook page. So you should have a lot of help in the primary, I get there, right?
I do. I have some incredible support right now. My first fundraiser is May 13th in Richmond, Virginia, and Mike Lindell is doing that. America's Mom is going to be there. Bianca Gracia, who is with Latinos for America First, she's coming all the way up from Texas, and they can provide so much support to us. Colonel Tony Schaefer will attend. I think Gordon Chang is going to be able to make it. Waleed Perez was Trump's Middle Eastern advisor. He's also my Middle Eastern advisor, which is a huge deal because he worked on the Abraham Accords. He's extremely brilliant. He understands that Iran is going to be one of our biggest security issues over the next 5 years. So he's helping me. He has only helped presidential candidates and presidents in the past. And I was able to search him down, which he was impressed with, and secure him. And what's so great about Waleed is that we plan on taking a trip to the Middle East sometime this year to meet with world leaders. We're going to go to Israel, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Northern Iraq, Northern Africa, and then we're going to go through Europe and eventually South America. We should be meeting with Bolsonaro, who is the probably real president out of Brazil. We should be meeting with him probably over the next month. So we want to make these relationships with world leaders early on. Who else is going to attend? Matt Trong, he's out of Northern Virginia. He's with the Vietnamese American community. He was a former congressional candidate. I think he's done stuff with Trump's campaign. A lot of different people, so many great people. Kim Klacik out of Baltimore, Maryland, congressional candidate. I believe that she'll be running again. She's a superstar. So we have a lot of national backing and support, but you know, I've been on the ground working for a long time to do that. And America is at its last hour. Your normal American is not going to make it with the current economy, and the economy just gets worse and worse, and it's all very fixable. But we have an administration that wants a communist America. We're pretty much there, and they want political instability, and they want everyone to pretty much rely on the government.
Let me,
It's
let me,
really, really sad what's happening right now for the
I
average
want
American in particular.
I want to ask you something about first before we get. I wanted to ask you about East Palestine, but the most something Silicon Valley Bank and all of that with the collapse of that bank. What do you know, or what have you been? What do you know about that? Because I know there's been some thought that this could be worse than 2008.
Yeah, okay. So there's been two different banks that have been affected recently. That's SVB and Signature Bank. I'm just going to give you some data right now just so you understand. The FDIC only has 124.5 billion on its balance sheet and 100 billion line of credit. And the US banking system has over 22 trillion in deposits, but the FDIC assets only cover 1.26% of deposits. Now, the Biden administration came out and said, we're not going to bail out this bank, but they do have to secure deposits up to $250,000. So the different businesses that would be affected are startups, a lot of different environmental companies. I think 60% of community solar financing came out of them. Other businesses like Airbnb, DoorDash, Dropbox, Eventbrite, LinkedIn, SpaceX, Tesla, Uber, Zillow, Etsy, DocuSign, Hulu. So a lot will be affected, but it sounds like they're not really going to bail them out. But now their issue is that there is a problem with how we feel about banking, and how many people went to the bank today just to try to take money out. We know that the stock market fell up to 75% for different banks. It affected Wells Fargo. I mean, all sorts of different banks have dropped substantially as far as their stocks are concerned. More concerning is that the CPI comes out tomorrow. That's the Consumer Price Index. And what that is going to show is that inflation keeps increasing more than the wages of workers. So basically, whatever you're earning is going to be worth less. So we've got families already struggling who already didn't have money left over before all this mess. And now their money's going to be worthless. You're going to be you're making less and less and less. It's just really sad for the average American. How are people making it right now?
Right.
And also, as of tomorrow, there will be 20 months of worker wages not keeping up with the inflation, which is longer than the Great Depression of 1929.
Wow.
That's where we're at. And that's sad.
And it's funny because when you think back to COVID and all the money that was, you remember where people didn't work because they wanted to stay on unemployment and all of that stuff, all led to this in a lot of ways. I think it all just led to where we are. And where we feel it here, everywhere in the country, we feel it really bad in Niagara Falls, but we're Rust Belt, because all of our factories have left a long, long time ago. I wanted to ask you also about East Palestine. It's close to us. We're only 3.5 hours away from Cleveland, so it's pretty close to where we live. Let me know what you know that we're not finding out on like CBS or ABC or something like that.
I can tell you what I know, and I can't say the source because I'm not supposed to know.
Okay.
But basically, so let's just review this for your viewers. You had a 50 train car derailment. 10 of those cars had hazardous materials. Honestly, they were not properly disposed of, probably because they just wanted to reopen up the tracks. So you had poor air quality, everything contaminated. And this even affected Virginia, where we had birds falling out of the sky. We have sores on our fish. This did not follow the jet stream. This actually went out every single direction. It went 400 miles west of Lafayette, Indiana. It went 1,200 miles into Canada. It went far south. So it has far-reaching consequences. It went into the waterway in Ohio, made it all the way down to the Mississippi, and now they're carrying everything out and putting toxic substances all over the place, including in Texas. But what I do know, a couple things are in the news, a couple things nobody knows about. Some environmental engineers came out and 5 of them died in their plane crash after they took samples. We know that. But it's my understanding that these people also were involved with the Hillary administration. So we know that. That's something that you can find in the news. What's more classified that I've been made aware of is that the samples that were taken days later are not the same contaminants as what was contained on the rail cars, as if contaminants related later added to the area. And my thinking is that there's a new bill that is about to come out, which is going to allow the federal government to seize lands when contaminated, to take everything, to make sure that the inhabitants have to vacate the area. The government then seizes it. And then I think that they're doing this for fracking, because what was found days later is going to eventually lead to earthquakes over, like, I think it's like a 10-year time span or something. I didn't get the scientific detail on this and how it works, and what exactly the substances were, but it sounds like, it's just sad. Money is ruling our world and there's so much evil. And so the question is, why are there so many train derailments? Why are so many toxic substances being released? What's the purpose of that? For East Palestine, it might be for future fracking. It's just really sad for the residents there right now. I mean, that's the only intel that I have that would not be in the news that I've been able to pick up. We did go there. We were there the night that Aaron Brockovich was there. It's really, really tragic what's happened. The older people say, what are we going to do? Here we are. Well, in the meantime, a lot of people are sick. Norfolk Southern came in, offered residents $1,000 per person to not sue them. And some people are so desperate for money, that's what they accepted. The state of Ohio is not going to allow punitive damages, and they're going to only allow up to $350,000 per resident, which, a lot of these people have big farms. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to move. You're not going to be able to get new horses, cattle, whatever your livestock is. I mean, it sounds like, after speaking to the experts there, that it's just that the air quality is so dangerous. They expect a lot of these people to have cancers pretty quickly. They also think that the spread of the contaminants will happen quicker than what the EPA is saying. And I think it was like a mile a year is what they were suggesting. So I know residents there that I made friends with after being there. They're still taking showers with their water because they don't have a choice. They have farms, they have horses. I literally said, just come on down to Virginia, please. But, they're still there. That's where their home is.
Yeah, can you imagine? Because you can't leave your home. How are you going to leave? You don't have money to leave. Are you stunned? I'm sure you were, but I didn't realize there were so many train derailments in our country. I had no idea.
Yeah. In 2022, 1,000 trains derailed in the United States. Over the last 2 years, there have been a large number of FBI investigations of purposeful sabotage of the trains. And I mean, my thinking goes to high-speed rail and kind of what a lot of I don't want to use the word globalist. I was trying to stay away from that. But it sounds like they want to see high-speed rail across the United States. So is there a purpose in not having confidence of the American people in our rail system, so that way we then invest in this high-speed rail? What is the real purpose in this? And why do we have so much rail sabotage across the United States? Why are we releasing all these chemicals and hazardous materials? I mean, I can run through this. I know it's 6:14 and our time's limited, but East Palestine had vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, isobutylene, phosphine, which is a highly toxic colorless gas, which was used in World War II. That was February 3rd. February 12th, Katy, Texas, it was a warehouse leaking anhydrous ammonia. February 14th, Houston train derailment with hazardous materials. February 15th, Arizona truck spill outside of Tucson at nitric acid. February 16th in Van Buren Township in Detroit, carrying hazardous materials, liquid chlorine. February 16th, massive 5-acre industrial fire in Florida. I mean, I'm only on February 16th, right? I mean, this is crazy. Right. February 20th, plant explosion in Bedford, Ohio. February 21st, Nebraska. It said it was carrying coal, but it was never specific if there was hazardous materials or not. February 21st in Pennsylvania, a pipe bomb was found on the train tracks. Recently, March 9th in West Virginia, a whole bunch of diesel fuel from a train derailment went into the New River, which is obviously going to affect Virginia because the New River comes through here. March 10th, there was a large fire, multi-story oil rig with hazardous materials in Mobile, Alabama. This had diesel, hydraulic fluid, oil, other hazardous materials. What's going on in America? What is going on? And it's like, how are we going to survive our current government with our food being poisoned, our air being poisoned? I mean, there's so much going on. I just feel like we're in the last hour, and it's more than saving America right now. It's saving humanity because we're in really, really bad shape.
When are we going to talk treason?
Jerry's got to go ahead, Jerry.
I'm just saying, when are we going to start talking about treason?
We don't have control over our government. There are more of us, but I mean, it's compromised at every single level.
Yeah.
I think it's 6:16. I wanted to talk, if it's okay, about how we can strengthen our families and what you can do yourselves in your state and what we're doing in Virginia. I've been trying to build a relationship with our new attorney general, and lieutenant governor. I had already been building relationship with, but I would recommend start reaching out to your attorney general's office because they would have jurisdiction to change some of your courts. Because currently our courts are not constitutional courts. They're maritime law courts. The Constitution doesn't exist. So that's why we have rapists walking, children being murdered by their abusers, children being sexually assaulted, children never seeing their parents again, children being trafficked at the rate of 1 child per minute in America. And these things I could fix a lot at the federal level a lot quicker, but we can also do some things at the state level. So my suggestion is to have a meeting, talk to them about a parental bill of rights to be added to your state constitution. We are on a 3-year plan in Virginia to do that. There needs to be oversight of the lower courts at your district attorney's offices because every county should have a district attorney. We call them Commonwealth's attorneys here. Currently in our civil courts, you have no freedom of association. You have no rights in those courts. They don't follow any laws, and there's no one you can go to. There's no judicial review committee. There's no appeals court. The entire system is a failure. So my thought is hire someone specifically in the district attorney's court to look at what happened in the lower court and your civil court to say, is there a constitutional question? Did they follow the law? Is there fraud? Is there a child at harm? Is this child being trafficked basically by the government, which is happening constantly? And then there has to be, if there's any constitutional question, then it has to be heard at a court of appeals. Currently in places like Virginia, we barely hear any cases that are coming through. It's just not happening. In the Supreme Court, they don't care about the Constitution. It just totally is non-existent. Judges have to be held accountable. That's something that your state legislature can do. We have to end things like ex parte orders. These are orders that occur without any type of evidence or due process, which is leading to a lot of harm to so many people. In Virginia, they waive your signatures to force you into contract basically with the state and with the government. We have to end that. I don't know what New York does. Mm-hmm. We have to end special closed dockets and illegal guardianships because they are taking our elderly and taking all their assets and leaving them in a home to die. They are taking young adults with special needs and putting them in places where they're dying. Some are underage. They're taking them from their parents without any type of parental consent. So in my opinion, these are things that you can work on in your state, with your state legislature, with someone. There's got to be some beefy legislation to put forth. So 620 babies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, thank you. I mean, we talk about it so much.
I like what you said about judges need to be held accountable because so many of them do here, especially.
Yeah, it politically it's such a mess, everywhere because the parties control. I mean, really, think about it.
Won't even respond to us here. Our legislator, what is his name? What was it?
Oh, we got
Rob Ord.
Rob Ord's our state senator. Yeah,
he won't even respond. If he does, he says he can't get involved. It's the worst trying to reach out to him or speak to him.
We just, I've been at this for more than a minute and we keep chugging along and we keep building relationships. And a lot of it is building relationships in order to make that change. And I feel like we're at a better place now to create those changes. I hope. I feel like I have a seat at the table and they're listening.
Right.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
great.
good. That's what we need. We
Yeah.
need people to have that seat because we scream and we do a lot screaming and yelling here, and we'll keep doing it. And I wanted to ask you one thing before I let you go, because this bothers me.
Mhm.
Accountability for false accusations with CPS, because we have run into people that get in touch with us,
Horrible.
female and male, both, that either a landlord, somebody is politically even as a weapon. We got to do something with that.
I know. I don't have the statistics in front of me on false accusations, but it's huge. I've given several talks, I think to the National Men's Coalition in particular, about false accusations, because everyone is affected by this across the country. They only took a small sample as far as false accusations were concerned. And it was some number like in the 2 million, but obviously that was a small sampling. So we know how harmful this is. And again, this is something that could be done at the state level or at the federal level. I want to be at the federal level so that way I can create a change quicker. I think if we go state by state, it's going to take a long time, but if I can get into this position, we can get it done quicker. And to learn more about me for your viewers, you can go to www.kim.
I think we lost Kimberly.
It was spam. I'm so sorry. KimberlyLowe.com. My first fundraiser is May 13th in Richmond. I have a lot of tickets to sell, and I need volunteers to help me with clerical stuff. I just don't have time to look up stuff on the computer. I would like to hire someone too at some point, but no one seems to want to work. Like, I've tried to hire people, but people are like, I don't know. No one seems to really be interested in working. It's frustrating. So if any viewers just want to help the country out by just helping me look some stuff up and help me put them in spreadsheets, that would help me a lot. And we have a lot of work to do in this country, and I'm going to work really hard and be on the ground to get in the door. I have one of the nation's top campaign managers, and we have a lot of national support. So we feel confident about the primary. We need to win that general election against Tim Kaine, and it's going to take making a lot of money. He's got 4 million now. We've got to raise a lot of money.
What a shame.
So,
all right, I'll let you go. I know you got your. No, we'll let you. Because if anyone, there's questions, but everyone can go to your website and stuff, and if they got questions about your stances on some things, I don't want to hold you. You got your kids. I know you said there's a water park or something.
It's okay. I think they were messaging me the whole time that they were coming back to the room. I heard the door open, so they must have needed a break from the water park.
We're definitely gonna keep in touch with you, me and Noelle, because we need a lot of advice on CPS and things and family court. I think it goes everywhere. It sounds similar to New York State. And also from here in New York, we'll be wishing you to win, the best as you.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jared.
Best of luck, Kimberly.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
And
somebody please give them some stars so I can see who else is in the room.
Oh yeah, we need stars. I know. I need another camera. But this is Kimberly Lowe running for U.S. State Senate, not U.S. Senate eventually be against Tim Kaine, who was the
U.S.
vice
Senate.
presidential candidate. Yep. All right, Kimberly, I'll let you go. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy.
I'd be the swing voter. Thank you all so much.
Take care, Kim.
Go get him, Kimberly. Go
Bye.
get him.
Bye-bye. All right, Kimberly Lowe from Virginia.
Awesome. Wow.
Boy, doesn't she speak our language on a lot of stuff, especially that's family stuff. The court stuff she's talking about.
That'd be awesome if somebody like her herself ran for president.
Be great to any way we can.
That would be a perfect woman president.
I'm assuming you could probably donate to her if people were so inclined, if she needs, because she's going to need money if she goes up against Kaine. That's right. And probably some of the others, I'm sure, in her own party.
They got to get the money out.
She said, "Thank you." How nice.
I wish I knew how to do a spreadsheet. I'd offer to help.
Right. I can teach you. I can teach you. Spreadsheets aren't that bad.
Good, and the second you can teach me how to get online on my phone, so I can share.
Get online on your phone. What do you mean?
Ever since I went to Canada, my phone's online. I can't share.
What?
I'm not online.
No, she's talking about.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. What is this? You can't go online.
Right, I'm not. It says you are currently offline.
What?
All
All right. I'm not, you know what? I gotta go. We gotta take a break. Well, what do you want me to do? I can't. But you gotta call them people. Oh, you know what? Does she have a primary against Kane? No, her primary is against the other Republicans, and if she's lucky enough to win, she'll take him on in the general. Go to her site. I know you asked some questions that I couldn't ask ask her because we're kind of up against time. But if you are interested to seeing what she thinks about stuff, she's got it all out there.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a quick break? I got to figure out why Robin can't get online, and because I don't understand this. And then when we come back, we got some exciting news.
Yeah.
We got garbage news as usual. You know, we got all kinds of stuff. So why don't we take our break? And if I can find our break. Yep, we'll be back in a moment.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.